Welcome ninjas to the Coder Dojo. How is everyone doing today? So we're going to be starting a new series today that I'm actually really looking forward to. So this is going to be a run and gun game. So kind of a bit like Contra or Gradius or a few other types of games. Let me show you what the game looks like to start off with. As always, I'll give you a bit of an intro just for a few minutes while we wait for the rest of everyone to turn up to the live stream. And so if you're watching this not live streamed, feel free to skip forwards a little bit if you want to get straight to the tutorial. But in the meantime, this is the game so far. And we won't get quite this far in today's session. In today's session, we're going to do just movement. So you can see we've got this cool effect where it looks like we're constantly running to the right. There's these enemies. There are collectibles. Each time we hit an enemy, it's actually taking away one of our lives, which isn't super obvious yet. I think we'll make some changes to that. And when you run out of lives, you lose. If you have a look at the top, you can see there's this cool effect where all the trees are moving, as well as clouds and buildings. And also, if I shoot out these rainbow lasers, I can shoot the skeletons who are walking towards me. So with the controls for this game, I've actually got the controls for the unicorn as being WASD, and I've got the controls for like the projectile attack to be on the arrow keys. So you sort of play it with two hands. So the other thing is, with today being focused mainly on us programming in the movement, have a bit of a look at what the horse is doing. So if I stop pressing anything, if I move the horse to the front, unicorn to the front, and then let go, the horse sort of falls backwards. That's what sort of gives part of the effect of the horse falling towards the back of the screen. And we also, if I try and go up, we can't go up beyond a certain point, and you'll also notice that the horse, the main character, doesn't go off the edges of the screen. The other thing I should mention, of course, is that I'm doing this game with like skeletons and unicorns and rainbows, and you can change it completely differently to be different sprites, different graphics. So you can have, shooting aliens, you can have like a commando or a robot or anything that you like. The easiest thing to change about a game is the graphics. That's the easiest thing to change. So you can put in your own graphics, you can draw your own, you can download them from the internet, set them up any way you like. All right, so that's enough of an intro to the game as it stands now. A few things that I think I'd like to do once we get to it is I'd like to have power-ups, different types of weapons, and I'd really like to do a boss battle. We'll see how far we can get with this project, because the really long projects are a bit difficult sometimes for some people to follow. A lot of people prefer very short projects, but I'm really excited about this one. I think it's really fun. I think it'll be really cool to have like power-ups and different types of weapons that work differently, that kind of thing. All right. So, how's it going, FaZe? Hola to you as well. You keeping well? So, as always, this is live stream. So if you are here in the live stream, then and you get stuck, remind me what your Scratch username is. Make sure that your project is shared, and then say, hey, this is my main character on my game is not going up properly. Tell me what's gone wrong, and then remind me of what your Scratch username is. That way I can look you up and help you out with your project, and in fact we can all work together as a team and help fix the problems. Speaking of that, while you are all here in the Coder Dojo live stream, make sure that you are cool, not only as you would think of yourself as cool, but also as everyone else would think of you as cool. So don't be mean, don't be rude, be encouraging. There's a lot of people of different ages here. We've got some people who are a lot younger, so they haven't learned spelling, they haven't learned coding as well as maybe everyone else, and that's fine, we're all learning. So make sure that you're encouraging and positive. And that's pretty much everything. I reckon we should be able to start coding. All right, so I'm going to bring this over here. Everyone make sure you're nice and comfy. I'm just gonna grab this quickly. Yeah, that's good. All right. Oh yes, and one last thing that I forgot to mention, there is latency between you seeing my video and me saying stuff, so don't panic if it looks like I'm not responding to what you're putting in chat. I am responding to what you're doing. Just make sure that you remember there's about 15-20 seconds latency, so there's a bit of a delay. It seems like there's a delay. How's it going, fake phasers? Don't spam completely in chat, otherwise I will be forced to mute you. Don't just put loads and loads of letters into chat, please. All right, so let's get on with it. All right, so everyone head across to scratch.mit.edu. You can just do a search in Google for Scratch and choose the first thing that comes up. And once you're there, click on Create Project, and we are going to make a start. So the first thing that we need to do, let's start off with some art. So what we're going to do is go to the bottom right corner, and where it says choose a backdrop, just go above that until we get to paint a backdrop. So we're gonna make a backdrop here, and I'm going to show you a few nice tricks to make the backdrop look really nice. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on the rectangle tool on the left, and we are going to drag a rectangle on like most of the screen. So what you're seeing here right now is you should have like a square with a smaller square inside it. The smaller square inside it is actually what is visible in the game. Everything outside of the smaller square you can't actually see. So make a rectangle. This is going to be the ground, so make it take up most of the screen, like 2/3, maybe even 3/4. And then once you're happy with how much of the screen it takes up, go to the top left corner where we've got the color, which I think should be probably purple for everyone. And then click on, can you see there's these sort of shaded kind of effects that 4 in a row just above where the color is, up in the top left corner where I'm wiggling my mouse. Choose the third one, like this. And now you should actually have 2 different colors. There's a top color and a bottom color. So this is going to be your ground. So I'm going to make mine sort of green. And you can make yours whatever you like. If it's like on an alien planet, maybe you can have all sorts of different colors. And if you want, you can swap the colors as well with this swap button to see what it looks like there. I'm going to make a sort of dark green at the bottom and a lighter green on the top. That looks pretty good, I think. And the other thing that we're going to do, so once you click away, there we go, you've got your ground. Now there's a black line there, and I don't want that black line. I'm not a big fan. So I'm going to go to the top left corner. How's it going, Blake? Lovely to have you here. So I'm going to go to the outline, click on outline, and click on this red line, which, first of all, we should go to the select tool up in the top left, so, and make sure we drag over the box, and once you select it, then you can turn the outline off. So to answer your question, Blake, we do every Thursday at 4 p.m. That's when we do these live streams. And if you stick around to the end, I'll let you know where you can look for physical programs at City of Swan libraries as well. And also, just in case anyone is wanting just to have a bit of a play, let's call this, I'm going to call my game Unicorn Attack. Unicorn Attack. And I'm just going to share it. Huh. So this is going to be our run and gun game. So we've got our ground. So now what we need to do is we need to make some sky. So to answer your question, FaZe, when the Coder Dojo is coming back to the library, I don't know. It's not my call, and probably when it does come back, it will probably be a little bit different as well. We'll probably have to take bookings to make sure that we know how many people are coming and that kind of thing. That's fine, Blake. You can stick around. Lovely to have you here. All right, so we've made our nice shape, our nice ground shape. Now we need to make a nice sky shape. So, I've got a cat here. Don't know if you can see on the camera. So again, click on rectangle, make another rectangle on top, and then we can go up to the top left corner to the fill, and this time we can change it so that these colors are blue. And yeah, I'm going to make, if I swap those, no, I'll swap them like this. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I like that. So that's a nice simple kind of, so it's not just all one color, it's slightly different, slightly shaded. We've got ourselves a nice backdrop now. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we are going to choose our main character. So I recommend you choose a character that's looking towards the right. So the Scratch Cat is fine. I'm going to choose the unicorn, just because that goes with the whole kind of, my whole vibe of my game as a unicorn shooting skeletons with rainbows. So to choose a new sprite, go to the bottom right corner, click on that little that little cat face where it says choose a sprite, and then look through until you find one that you like. Make sure that you're all finished off with your backdrop as well. I'm going to have the unicorn. That's not the one that I want. I'm going to choose a different unicorn, because I want the unicorn that's running. Hey, yeah, it's called Unicorn Running. So yeah, if you hover over the sprite, you'll see all the animation of it. So I'm going to actually animate this unicorn so it looks like it's running. Cool. Okay. So this unicorn's a bit big. I'm going to make it a bit smaller. So to make it smaller, you look sort of in the middle right of your screen, just below where your game screen is. So just to let everyone know, the game screen's in the top right corner. That's where actually, the game is happening. The bottom right is like where the sprites are, and in the middle is where the code is, and on the left. So if you look just below the game screen, the game window, you should have some information about your sprite. And we've got unicorn running, and size is 100. So just erase that, and I'm going to change it to size 30. I think that's pretty good. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with size 30. When the game's big, yeah, that's a good size for the unicorn. All right, so next thing we're going to do is we are going to program the unicorn to look like it's running. So let's go to events. So that's the yellow category on the left. Let's look for when green flag clicked. drag that one out, zoom in, or rather I'm going to zoom in so you guys can see. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to control the orange category. We're going to drag out forever. And then what we're going to do is we're going to select, we're going to get a wait 1 second, drag that and put it inside the forever. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to looks, the dark purple, the purple category in the top left corner, looks, because we're going to change the costumes of this sprite. We're going to look for maybe the 6th one, I think, is called next costume. Drag out next costume and just put it underneath where it says forever. So now we have a bit of simple code that just says when green flag clicked, forever, next costume. Wait 1 second. So to see what the costumes are of our character, go to the top left corner where it says costumes, and you should see all the different costumes. And this one's great because there's actually 6 different costumes, so it actually looks really effective when we're cycling through them. So if we just hit go, the costumes are changing, but they're changing too slowly for my taste. Let's make them change a bit faster. So we go back to the code of our unicorn character, and where it says wait 1 second, click on that 1 and type in 0.1, 0.1, and now have a look. Okay, that's looking a lot better. Yeah, that's looking really good. Okay, so let me show you my game again, just so we know what we're working towards. So what we need, so we've got the unicorn, we've got the ground, we've got the sky, we've got the unicorn changing its costume so it looks like it's running. What we need to do now is we need to program it so that when I let go, the unicorn sort of falls towards the back all the time. And we also need to make it so that you can move the unicorn around, left, right, up and down. All right, so let's get the controls working. So let's put this little animation loop code off by itself. We're not going to mess with that anymore for now. What we're going to do is we are going to go to events. We're going to get out another when green flag clicked, and we are going to get a forever and put it underneath. Let me zoom in for you. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make it so that the player is always being dragged to the left. So to make them to be forever dragged to the left, go up to the top left corner, click on the dark blue category motion, and have a look for change X by 10. So look for change X, and it's about halfway down all the blue lines of code. Drag out that change X by 10. Okay, so I'm just gonna do something to briefly remind you guys about coordinates. So when we look at our game, the entire game, we have coordinates for every single point on the game. There's a number for how far left and how far right a character is in the game, and there's a number for how far up or down the character is in the game. And if you change the number, you change where the character is. X controls how far left or right you go, and Y controls how far up or down you go. If you've done graphs in school, this is actually pretty useful. You can actually use your knowledge of graphs to help you make games, which is kind of cool. Maths actually does come in useful for fun stuff sometimes. There's one thing you may not have covered too much, and that's the idea of negative numbers. Numbers that are lower than 0. So this point right in the middle is actually 0. It's 0 for X and it's 0 for Y. And if you go below that, you get negative numbers. So like negative 100 or minus 100, which is 100 lower than 0. And if you go above that and the same amount, then it's 100 or positive 100. So don't worry too much about all of this, but if you do understand coordinates, if you've done these types of tutorials before, this is really useful to know in controlling your game. So if you change x by a positive amount, so you're adding to x, then your character will move right. If you're changing x by a negative amount, so you're minusing or taking away from x, your character will move to the left. And you can see these are the opposites. And the same is true of y. If you add to y, your character moves up. If you take away from y, if you subtract from y, it goes down. So if you don't understand that, don't panic. Just follow what I do. If you do understand, good. All right, so we are going to look back at our code. When the green flag clicked, I'm just going to quickly change my backdrops again. When the green flag clicked, forever change x by 10. That's what you need to be looking at. So if I click go, the horse moves to the right because adding to x makes them move to the right. So we want them to move to the left. So if you click on where it says 10 in the change x by 10 and type in minus, and then we'll say 5, so it's not going quite as fast, then you'll see the character moving to the right. And if you drag it forwards with your mouse, they still sort of move to the left, which is good. That's exactly what it wanted to do. That's excellent. And that actually looks kind of interesting now, doesn't it? You're starting to get the illusion of it sort of running through a field. All right, so now what we need to do is, you'll notice though, there's something that happens. It moves all the way off the screen until only its head is visible. Now, let's have a check of my other game and see if that's what happens. So when we hit go, oh, if the horse character stops at a certain point. They stop when they get far enough left and they don't go any further left. So how do we do that? How do we make that happen? Well, what we do is we put in an if question before we change the x by 10. So follow me if you haven't done this before. Go to events, the yellow category. Not events, control. I always do that. Control, the orange category. And look for if, and then little diamond shape, then. So you need if, then. Then you pull it out. I'm just going to put it off by itself for now. Can you see this? If, and then a little shape, and then. So get this if, then, and put it so that, can you see there's this gap inside? Hello, cat. There's this gap inside. We want it so that the gap has inside of it change x by 10. So drag your if then so that it goes just underneath where it says forever and let go. And now you should have forever if something, then change x by -5. So so now it will only change x by -5 if something is true. So let's have a look at that. So what we need to do is we need to decide at what point do we want the unicorn, the player, to not be able to move left anymore. So that looks pretty good, I think. Move it just a little bit more left. Yeah, so the character there, that's a good amount. I don't want the character to move any further left than that. So if you look at where the character is now, you can see where their current coordinates are. Their current coordinates are like their address. If you know the address, you know where the character is. So currently, this character's coordinates are x minus 205 and y equals -2, but we're not worrying about y right now. So x minus 205. Good. That's a really good. That's really good for us to know. So now we can say only if you are further right than x minus 200, or about 200, then only then do you move left. If you don't understand, don't panic. Follow me. We're going to look at operators. So the green category on the left, look at operators, and look down to about the 6th line in our green category operators, and this one is called more than. And can you see it's kind of a 6-sided shape, like a hexagon or a jewel? And you can see there's a 6-sided hole in our if-then statement. Drop it inside that and you'll see it fits just nicely. So now we have if something more than 50, then change x by -5. So what we want to do is we want to make this operator say if the x position of the horse, remember the x position is how far left or right the horse is more than a certain number, then you can change x by -5. That's fine. So let's go to motion, the top left, the dark blue category. Look down and look for a little rounded little variable called x position. So you should see it right near the bottom of all the blue codes. Find x position, drag that out, and drop it into the first of those little rounded holes in our operator. So now we've got if x position more than 50, but we want to change that number, because remember, let's say more than -200. So click on that 50, type in -200. All right. So now, that's good. So now the horse, the unicorn, the player, doesn't go too far to the left. They always stop after a certain point. Excellent. All right. So that's step number 1. We've got the horse looking like it's running, and we've got the horse always dragging to the left. Now let's make the controls work. So what we're going to do is, the way that we're going to organize this is we're going to use my blocks to make it a bit easier to sort of see what all the code is for. So everyone go to my blocks. Hello, kitten. And once you've clicked on my blocks, the red category on the left, click on make a block, that little gray box in the top left corner. And, oh, don't mess with my microphone, kitten. No, what are you doing? Have a seat up there. Okay. So once you've clicked on make a block, you should have this screen in front of you. We're going to give this block a name. We're actually going to make 4 of these all together, but this is the first one. We're going to call this one move up. And this is going to contain all the code for how our unicorn moves up on the screen. So press OK. And what you should have now is a little define move up and an even littler move up in the top left corner. So look for this define move up. So this block, this my block, in programming we often call these functions. What we're going to do is we're going to put a bunch of instructions into define move up, and then whenever we use this little block of move up, it's going to do everything that was inside define move up. So FaZe has asked, do we click screen refresh? Just leave it as is. So yeah, so just leave it as is. You don't need to tick any boxes. Run without screen refresh should be unticked. So yeah, make sure it's not ticked. All right, it's a good question, FaZe. Okay, so we should now have our define move up here. And we should have our, and up in the top left corner, drag out a move up and put it right underneath where it says forever. So we need to do this 3 more times. Let's go for our second time, and let's click on make a block, type and call it move down. press OK. And then you've got to drag out a little move down to go right underneath the forever. And the forever it needs to go under is the one we've been working on, the one with the X position change X by type stuff. Make sure you don't put it in the other one. Let me move that one out the way. Okay, we're going to do that again. Click make a block, move left, press OK, drag out a little move left my block, put it right underneath the forever, and click one last time, move right. Drag out a little, move right, make sure it goes underneath the forever. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. If you want to move, zoom in or zoom out, it's the bottom right corner of your code window. And I'm just going to move these define, move up, define, move down, define, move left, all that stuff. I'm going to move them so that they're in this nice little pattern where it's kind of obvious which direction they're meant to be. You don't have to do this. It doesn't change the way the code works, but hopefully it will make it a bit easier to understand what we're about to do. Alright, so now we've got our 4 define move up, define move left, define move down, define move right, all that stuff. Okay, so let's sort out define move up first. So let's go to events. Not events, control. I always do that. Look for another if then. Drag out that if then and put it underneath define move up. And then we are going to go to sensing. We're going to look down for a little 6-sided jewel shape called key space pressed. Drag key spray words. I can do words. Drag out key space pressed and put it inside our if then. I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit so you guys can see it a bit easier. And then we're going to make the unicorn go up. Now, if anyone in the audience knows what direction is up, change something. Put your answers in the chat. And for everyone else, go to the dark blue category motion. Look down until you find, sort of towards the end, change Y by 10. So look through all the blue codes, near the bottom of the blue codes, change Y by 10. Drag out change Y by 10 and put it inside that if. Okay. And then if you're make sure your program's running. So now it says if key space pressed, then change Y by 10. So space bar, I'm going to press that, and we'll see if my unicorn moves up. It does. The problem is it goes right up into the sky. Uh-oh, come down, come down. There we go. So if I press up, it goes up, but it goes right up into the sky. So we solved this problem before with another if that checked to see how high the horse was, and if it was too high, it wouldn't go up. So we can solve this again pretty simply. Also, we should change where it says space. So if you can see it says if key space pressed, look at that white triangle next to the word space and click on that. So you could set it to being the arrow keys, or with me if you like, I'm going to set it to be the WASD keys. So up is always W. On your keyboard, if you've played like games with the keyboard and mouse, sort of your fingers kind of sit just nicely on the WASD keys on the left side. Some keyboards even have them all lit up for you. So up is always W, so now you should have define move up as if key W pressed, then change Y by 10. But we need to add another if into this. So go to Control, look for the if then, drag out the if then from Control, absolutely phased, just like Fortnite, WASD. Drag out the if then and drop it down just underneath the other if, so that the change Y by 10 is inside it. So first it asks the question, have you pressed the button to go up? Then it asks the question, are you already too high? If you're not too high, then you can go up. So we're going to do the same thing we did before. We're going to go to Operators, that green category on the left, Operators. Look about 6 down in the green operators, and look for this here, which is more than. So this operator here is this arrow pointing to the right is more than. So we're going to ask the question, is actually, I think we need to be less than, don't we? Yes. So we don't want this one. All right, if you've got this one, throw it away. We actually want to go to the one below that, called less than, because we're asking, are we below the top height? Are we low enough to be able to keep moving up? So the one that you need is 7 from the top, the operator with a space and then an arrow pointing at the space, and then 50. We're going to change the space and the 50, of course. So once you've got that one inside your if then, go to the top left corner, motion, and look down near the bottom of the motion codes and you'll find Y position. Nice little variable there. Drag that out and put it inside the first space. So now we've got Y position less than, and this number will be our top height. So let's have a look and see how far we want our horse to go. That seems good. I don't want my horse to go much higher than that. So let's say 70. Because what I'm looking at is this number here. It's a bit small on my screen, but if I wiggle my mouse, you should be able to see. When I move the unicorn around, it tells me its X coordinate just here where I'm wiggling my mouse, on the right side, in the middle. And then the Y coordinate is right here. So I can figure out that's about as high as I want my unicorn to go, and that Y coordinate is 70, no problems. So we're going to click on we're going to go back to the code, click on that 50, and type in 70. All right, let's give it a test. So now, if you drag your unicorn, you should be able to go up, but not up into the sky. If your sky is lower, then just change the number. Make the number lower, and that makes the sort of maximum height of your character lower. Make the number higher, and your character can go up higher. If you wanted, you could even have a game where they could go up into the sky, if that's what you wanted. If you had like a flying character or something like that. So that's good. That's all good. Now all we need to do is we need to make sure that we do the same thing for the other directions. So we've already done most of the work for our move up. So let's click on that directly underneath define move up. Do a right click, which is rude finger here. If you're right-handed like me, that is. Right click, and you should get 3 options: duplicate, add comment, or delete. Don't want to add comment and don't want to delete. Just duplicate for now. And now you should have attached to your mouse a complete copy of the code that we made for moving up. Let's drop that in moving down. So now we need to change it. We need to change some things here. First of all, look at that key W pressed, click on the white triangle. Let's change that to S with our Fortnite controls. So change that to S. The next thing that we need to change is we need to change the if Y position, because this if needs to make sure that our character is high enough when they're moving down that they don't go down too low, and then all we see is like their the unicorn head just poking up like that. We don't want the unicorn to go this low. That's too low. So go back to operators. This time we are going to need a more than. So more than is 6 from the top. It's the arrow going the opposite direction to the one that we've got. So just drag it out by itself for now. We're going to use this Y position. Put that inside. And we can get rid of this less than operator. We're going to drag in now our code that says if Y position more than, and currently it says 50, but that's going to be, that's wrong. We need to change that number. So how low do you want your character to go? Drag your character around, have a look at their coordinates here, and look at their Y coordinate. I quite like about here, which is about 150, minus 150, I should say. So that seems good. Let's click on, in our code, the 50 in our if Y position 50, and type in minus 150. And there's one more thing we need to change, and that's the direction that our character is moving. Which direction is change Y by 10? Is it up or is it down? Because we need it to be down. Put your answers in chat. I'll give you just a second. Changing Y by 10 moves the character up, because it's a positive number. We need to move them down, so we need to use a negative number. So we're going to go click on that 10 and type in minus 10. All right, let's see if our up and down work. Up and down. Perfect. It's exactly what we want. So what we need to do now is left and right. So all we need to do is zoom out a little bit. And we are going to duplicate everything in our move up. We're going to put it underneath move, I think right? Yeah, right. Yeah, doing it this way is a bit easier. So yeah, duplicate everything in move up and put it in move right. And duplicate everything under move down and put it underneath move left. And now all we need to do is, well, let's do move left first. So first of all, once you've done that duplication, have a look underneath define move left, and you should have if key something, if key S pressed maybe. Click on that white triangle. We're going to change this to A, because in WASD A is always left. And also it says Y position. We don't care about Y position, because Y position is to do with up and down. We only care about left and right now. So drag out that Y position. Go to the top left corner, dark blue section, motion. In motion, look near the bottom until you find X position, the little rounded circular variable. Drop that in the first empty space in our more than operator. And let's say, I think minus, from memory, what did we say before? Minus 200 is as far left as we want to go. We don't want to go any further left than minus 200. So click on that minus 150 and type in minus 200. And then after that, we've got change Y by minus 10. We don't want to change Y by minus 10. Drag that out and throw it away. Have a look in your motion codes. You should have change X by 10. Drag out change x by 10. And make sure it says change, not set. Change x by 10. But changing x by 10 will move them right. You want to move them left. So click on that 10, type in -10. Okay. So you should have all of that. Underneath define move left, we've got if key A pressed, then if x position more than -200, then change x by -10. Okay. The last one, and then we're all done with today's session. We go across to define move right. Have a look for if key W pressed. We want to change that. What is the right key on WASD? Put your answers in chat now. I'll give you a few seconds. So remember to change that. We look at that for that white triangle next to where it's got W. Click on that. Scroll down because we are looking for D. I have to look at my keyboard because I keep forgetting. But click on D if key D pressed, D for dog. And then we've got to change out these Y's for X's like we did before. So if Y position, drag out that Y position, put in an X position, and then we've got change Y by 10, drag out that change Y by 10. Phase, excellent, good job, as you quite correct. And drag out change X by 10. So now we should have if X position is less than 70. That's probably, so let's have a look at where we want, let's stop the game so the horse stops moving. How far to the right do we want them to be? Well, we could do this similarly by dragging the horse to where we want them to be and go, yeah, that's about right. And then we can look at the X. But there's another interesting thing that we can do. We can just mirror the number that we have on the left side. Remember, the number on the left side that we've been using has been -200. X -200 is like the border. So if we just type in, if we click on that 70 and just type in 200, not -200, but 200, it should be like perfectly mirrored, like the same kind of margin on the left as it is on the right. So let's give this a test. Actually, first I'll just leave this up for you so you can see the code. And as you can see, we can move our horse up, we can move our horse down, we can move our horse right, we can move our horse left, but the horse never goes off the screen, which is exactly what we want. So we do have this cool effect of the horse kind of running through a field. How did everyone go with that? Anything not working? If so, let me know. Phase is not working. So, alright everyone, let's have a look at Phase's project and see... No, I'm in the wrong place. Where is... what's your scratch name? Is it Phase? You've got to remind me. So what I'll do is I'll just wait for Phase just to remind me of his scratch name, and make sure that you've clicked save and share, Phase, okay? Make sure you've done that. Yeah, I can't remember what your scratch name is. See, I'm trying to look at the names of all the people I've got friended, but I can't remember. I have a terrible memory for scratch names. Little Jimmy 2, thank you, Phase, much appreciated. Little Jimmy 2. Okay. Here we go. Alright. Untitled 18, probably. Unicorn versus dragons. Cool idea. Alright. So, let's have a look inside. Okay. looks like the unicorn might be stuck off screen. So here's the thing. If you guys can see, on the coordinates of where the unicorn is right now, it will tell you the X coordinates just here where I'm wiggling the mouse, just underneath the game screen, and the Y coordinates. So let's first of all, let's rescue this unicorn. So we can make a sprite go somewhere by just retyping in these coordinates. So I'm gonna stop the game. I'm gonna highlight where it says 260, type in 0, highlight where it says 190, type in 0, and that makes the sprite come back to the middle of the screen. Another way of doing this is you can just look for go to, oh no, it doesn't matter, just do it that way. So yeah, so let's hit go now. Okay, so first problem. Unicorn's running in the wrong direction. So let's zoom out. Let's have a look. So we've got, so the code for making the unicorn slowly drift to the left. Look for when green flag clicked, forever, move down, move up, move right, move left. And then look for where it says change X by 10. So click on that 10, type in -10. Okay, that's better. Also, -10 is probably a bit too fast. So let's type in -5. That seems reasonable. All right, so you got that phase. So make sure that you've got that working. You should have change X by -5 underneath your move down, move up, move right, move left. And then let's have a look-see at the move up. So moving up, that works. Moving up works okay. So if you just test just moving up works fine. Let's try moving down. Moving down actually moves the horse up. So one thing, a really good way of fixing problems is just fixing one problem at a time and also testing each time you add some new code in. So you'll notice that I usually hit go on my game to give it a quick test, just so you can see if things are going wrong. So I hope you've got the horse going to the left and not going to the right now, because I'm going to tell you how to fix some other stuff now phase. So if you look for move down, let's have a look. So moving, if I press the down button, this is what happens. The horse is actually moving up. So all we need to do is look for change Y by, and it says 10. We need to change this. Click on 10 and type in -10. Now let's give it a test. If I press down, awesome, that's working. Moving up works, moving down works. All right, we've got got a bunch of stuff fixed already. All right, now let's check moving right. Moving right. Hey, that's working. It's already working. Perfect. And if I say moving left, here's the problem. I'm pressing left, and the character's actually moving right. So all we need to do is have a look at define move left and look for change X by 10. Click on that 10 and change it to -10. And that's all you need to do. Your project was pretty much there. Just a few little minuses in the right place. Fixes everything. Well done, FaZe. Good job. So hopefully that fixes everything for you, FaZe. And yeah, everything else looks to be working really nicely. So that's everything, I think, for today. Next week, we're going to continue working on this project. I think we'll probably add in the skeletons, I suspect. Or possibly, actually, we might do the parallax effect. A parallax effect is what's happening in the background. Can you see all the trees? Sort of some of the trees are moving faster than others. The buildings, the clouds, they're all moving at different speeds, and it looks like that there's this whole kind of cool sort of background. It gives you the sense of speed of your character moving really fast. So yeah, I think maybe next week we'll do the parallax effect, and then week after we can do the skeletons and maybe even the shooting. And yeah, it should be a lot of fun. We'll be able to do power-ups, maybe even a boss battle. So I'm looking forward to that. Your left goes super speed. Yeah, that's kind of how mine works as well, Faye. It's like you look at me going to the right and then look at me going to the left. Whoosh. That's kind of how it's meant to work. But if you want, try changing the numbers in your move left code. Try making the numbers smaller. Try -5 instead of -10. See if you like that a bit better. You might find that that's a bit better. Alright, so in between this week and next week, feel free to get some new graphics for your game if you want. Have a bit of a play around with some of the numbers if you want to change how fast your character moves. Just be careful to test between each time you make a change, and remember what it was before. So just to make sure that you don't do anything that breaks your game. But if you do, don't panic. I will share you my code next week, as I always do. So if you have any requests for future things you'd like to do, then leave a comment on the YouTube video, or you can send me a message through Scratch or YouTube and say, hey, I would love it if we did a lesson on this, if we learned how to make this game. If you want, you can subscribe and ring the bell to get notifications of when our next of our future live streams. We do these every Thursday at 4 p.m. Western Australia time. Next week we'll probably do the parallax effect, but keep an eye out for in the next day or two. I will put up the stream. I will schedule the stream for next week. So I hope you guys have had fun. I certainly have had a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to making this game over the next couple of weeks. And until I see you guys, stay awesome, be cool to each other, and take care of yourselves. We'll see you next week, ninjas.